One of the big actors, obviously, in the region is China, and China has been watching the TPP. The US has actually made great domestic capital out of the China relationship to gain support for TPP. So how do you actually arrange an accession for China and welcome China into the tent at some stage?
I hope our fellow ministers will also comment on this. I think, just to be clear, we've always said TPP isn't directed against any particular country. It's directed towards setting high standards for the region. And we're engaged, we the United States are engaged with China, as I know all of the countries are around the region. It's important to have a constructive economic relationship with them, and we're continuing to work with them, whether it's in our bilateral dialogues or through the negotiation of a high standard bilateral investment treaty to ensure that they are also meeting high standards and that we have a strong rules-based trading system here in the region.
Our view is that the corresponding agreement being negotiated, the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, together with TPP, provides a potential pathway to an Asia-Pacific free trade area. And that Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership does include China, it does include India, it includes all the ASEAN countries, it includes Japan and South Korea and New Zealand and Australia. So there's a lot of common membership between TPP and the RCEP. And RCEP has got the prospect of being concluded sometime this year, and I do think the two together can become potentially a very strong basis for all of the region getting together, and that will be a very powerful combination when you remove the noodle bowl of bilateral rules, which have worked effectively as sort of the foundations for TPP, and I think will again work as foundations for RCEP. You make that into one set of seamless trading rules across the region. It reduces the cost and makes it a lot easier to do trade, increases certainty in exporters and importers, and it is really a very strong objective that we're all ultimately heading for.
I think that for the time being, China is one of the biggest trading partners for Vietnam. The economic investment and trading relationship between China and Vietnam is very important for our economy. I think that there are many ways to strengthen the trading relationship between ASEAN country and China. We have ASEAN-China FTA, and as Minister of Australia mentioned, we are now negotiating on regional comprehensive economic partnership with the participation of China. And if talking about the possibility of China to joining TPP, we share the consensus of TPP member. Thank you.
That TPP might jeopardize our trade and economic relations with China. For many of our TPP countries, China is probably the biggest, if not, one of the biggest trading partners. This is a concern expressed in my country, Malaysia, and to that, our response has been China is now our biggest trading partner, and we don't see that to change in the next few years. China being a big economy, indeed, China is a very important economic player in the region. So the way we look at it in Malaysia is that TPP will create the momentum for a bigger trade opening up in the region. And of course, as you know, we are open to other countries coming on board. And of course, one point of time, we hope that more countries will be members of TPP. So the way we look at it, as mentioned by my colleague from Vietnam and also from Australia, we have other regional arrangements. ASEAN, we have a free trade agreement with China, and we are working very hard to conclude the RCEP negotiations by year end, and that's the way forward. The way forward is to continue having very strong economic links with China, and next, of course, all of us welcome the accession of new members. Thank you.
so that signing TPP is in line with our view of international relations and opening to trade that will bring prosperity, employment, sustainable development. And in that sense, we feel it is compatible to sign the TPP and to advance in the FTAAP, the Free Trade Agreements of the Asia-Pacific region, which precisely in China, at the last APEC meeting, it was agreed to carry on with a study to make it possible. We think the two efforts are perfectly compatible, and as others, China is a main trade partner for Chile, and we look forward to deepening that relationship. And we think that we have to make this convergent rather than to see as divergent. There are various speeds at which we can reach those agreements, and we look forward also to the advancement of the FTAAP in the framework of APEC. Thank you.